We're going to start with looking at some of our vocabulary words for this week. So everybody needs to be looking up at the screen.
Miss Court's here?
Yes. I don't know about Miss. Yeah, Miss Colt should be here too. What's her name? Carteret? The other C? Miss Cole? Yeah, the HI teacher. She should be here. All right, so the first word we're going to look at is surrendered. Surrendered. What do you think surrendered means, Julia?
You give up.
Maybe giving up. All right, Christopher.
You don't want to do it. You don't want to fight.
You don't want to fight anymore? Surrendered. Let me read you the sentence. It says, Audrey surrendered right before Wes was about to throw another snowball at her. Surrendered means if you surrendered to an enemy, you gave up or agreed the other side won. Surrendered is an action. It's a verb, so it's an action. You gave up. All right, next word is rebellion. Rebellion. Rebellion.
I know rebellious.
Rebellion. Let me read you the sentence. It says, throughout history, there have been many times when rebellion has brought about change. Rebellion.
People. Maybe like one. Maybe like.
So it's a group of people that they're defying authority or they're fighting for change in their political system.
Kind of protest.
It is very similar to a protest, yes. But they are fighting for change in their political system. Which is exactly what we dealt with the other day. Next word, furious. Furious. Gabriel?
Like they're angry, mad.
Angry, mad, furious. When you feel furious, it's a good idea to take a break and count to 10. It says someone who is furious is very, very angry. Very, very angry. Not just angry, very, very angry.
My mom and I don't pick up my room.
Next word, tyrant. A tyrant. Let me read the sentence. It says, the king was a mighty tyrant who never allowed his subjects to leave the kingdom. Tyrant. Gabby?
Like a ruler, someone in charge.
Okay, a ruler. All right, so a tyrant is a powerful person who rules others in a cruel or unreasonable way. A tyrant, a cruel ruler. Next word. Occasionally. Occasionally. Charles?
Occasionally means like if your family that lives in like a different state visit, they don't do that all the time, so it's kind of occasionally.
It's kind of every now and then. So it looks like we got a comment. Certain comments only come certain times. They come, it says we would occasionally see a shooting star while we were camping. Occasionally. It says you do it only once in a while. So if you do something occasionally, you only do it once in a while, not very often. And then our last word for this week, secure. Secure. Christopher?
To lock up something,
Okay, maybe to lock up something. Okay, Gabriel?
guard or barricade.
To guard or barricade something. Okay, Jody?
Something that's safe.
Let me come back to you. All right, Nathan? What? Something that is safe? All right, Charles?
If it's like locked up in like a vault or something, it's secure.
It's secure. Okay, Jody, what you got?
Protected by a wall from other harms or enemies.
Okay, so protected by walls from other harms or enemies. Let me read you the sentence. The castle had high walls to secure it from attack. Secure, it says when you secure an area, you make it safe from being attacked. You make it safe from being attacked. You secure it. We lock our doors to secure ourselves into the classroom. It says, if a soldier surrendered, would he agree that the other side had won? Why or why not?
Because he don't want to be finished off.
So would he agree that that the other side had won if he surrendered?
Yes.
Yes, he would. Because why, Jody?
Because you don't want to leave his family just because of a war.
Okay. All right. If people are angry with unfair political leader, might they start a rebellion? Explain. Gabby?
Yes, because they're fighting for what they want, and some people don't like that.
Right, they're fighting for change. And all right.
But sometimes it's bad.
Sometimes it can be not safe, a safe protest or rebellion. Would a
My mom
per
is picking me up.
who?
My mom is picking me up today.
Okay, I will message her and make sure. Yes, Chris.
You know that protest that went way too far into the Capitol?
Yes, and yes, at Washington D.C. Yes, yes, that was a rebellion. They wanted change, so they attacked the Capitol or the people that make change. So that was a type of rebellion. It was a protest, but it was really kind of a rebellion because they wanted some change in the political. They wanted political change. That's a good real world connection. Now there are rebellions that are
Every
are peaceful. There's peaceful protests and non-peaceful protests. Now, I think the one in DC was probably, it wasn't characterized as a peaceful protest because people did die and people did get hurt and stuff. What? What, buddy? Why are we talking about what?
Politics.
We're not talking about politics. We're talking about rebellions. And an example of a rebellion was something that happened in real life, and we're making a real world connection. We're not talking about politics. We're not talking about why they were fighting. We're just talking about people were standing up for their beliefs, and that is called a rebellion. That is one of our words this week. So we're not specifically talking about politics. There are two different types of rebellions, a safe one and a not safe one. Wouldn't you agree that was a good, okay, because I'll be honest, I almost got furious there. Says, would a person be furious if they were lied to and treated poorly? Why or why not? Gabby?
Because it's rude, and if you don't have, like, you don't treat someone.
So would somebody be furious? Yes or no? You got to answer the question first before you explain.
Yes.
Yes. Now tell me why or why not.
Because some people don't like it. It's rude to do that.
Yeah, some people think it's rude to lie or not be treated fairly. Said, would a tyrant be a reasonable or unreasonable leader? Explain. Well, we said a tyrant was a person who rules others in a cruel or unreasonable way. So would it be an unreasonable leader? Christopher.
Yes.
He would not be unreasonable, or he would?
He would.
He would be unreasonable.
Because he's bossing everybody around.
Because, yes, he's controlling everybody. He's bossing everybody around. All right? If you do something only once in a while, would you do it occasionally? Yes.
Yes.
You do something every once in a while, you would do it occasionally. I occasionally leave my hair down. Occasionally.
Occasionally feed my dog. My brother occasionally goes outside.
There you go. Would a castle that is secure be safe from attack? Why or why not? Would a castle that is secure be safe from attack? Why or why not? Go ahead, Christopher.
Just because it's locked up and every time they will attack, they'll just fight back.
Okay. All right. So would it be secure? Yes. Now, could it be gotten into? Probably, because if it's a castle and they have a wall, people can climb walls. So yes, it could be secure, but there are other ways of getting into places. So yes and no. All right, we'll write those down later. Not at this moment. So we're going to look at. Let's see if I think we wrote this one down. Page is this? Anchor chart 7. It's not 7. All right. So we're going to be looking at making inferences. This week we're going to be focusing on making inferences. When you make an inference, you're kind of finishing the story. Okay? Without, you use the knowledge that you have, and then you're kind of making an understanding of it. So, making inferences means authors may not tell everything in a text. Sometimes you have to make an inference to fill in the hole. So if an author is talking about the story being in the desert, what kind of inference can you think about the desert? What's it going to make you think of? Cactuses and being hot, sandy. Is there trees around? No. All right. Maybe camels. Okay. So we're using our background knowledge of what we know about a desert to help us kind of fill in the blanks. If the author is talking about being in the rainforest, what type of background knowledge would help us to understand what they may face in this story? Maybe snakes, okay? Maybe tigers, okay? In the rainforest, obviously, it's what? It's wet. It's called the rainforest for a reason. There's a lot of what? Tree coverage, because it's a forest. So we're going to use the clues from the text plus what you know to make an inference. So our inference was that there was sand, it was hot. So if the story is talking about two families walking in the desert and are super thirsty, what kind of inference can we make?
That they is going to get water.
They need to find water, but are they going to find water? It's very slim. They're going to find water in the desert. Now, if they're in the rainforest, yes, but in the desert, probably not. So, we're going to look at our story this week. It's called The Battle of the Alamo. This is a real battle that happened in the Alamo. The Alamo, I can't remember. Alamos in, I believe, Texas. I believe. So open up your book to page 288. 288, please. The Alamo. No. 288. Get your reading book out and let's open it up to page 288. So let's first look. I'm going to read the prompt and we're going to discuss the. Hold on. Where's the blue? I don't know how to do that. We're going to look at the genre of the text. Shh, Gabby. Alright, so the genre of this story is a narrative nonfiction. Narrative nonfiction. Nonfiction means the story is what? True. Alright? So it gives factual information by telling a true story. Narrative nonfictions present events in sequential or chronological order, so from beginning to end. The author of a narrative nonfiction may organize their ideas using headings. The headings tell readers what the next section of the text will be about. Narrative nonfictions include visuals such as photographs, illustrations, maps, and diagrams. Look at the illustration on 289 and explain to me anything you notice that fits the narrative nonfiction genre. Gabby?
There's an Italian flag.
Okay. There's a flag, an Italian flag. All right, what else do we... Okay, it looks like they're in war. Looks like they're fighting for something. Has anybody ever been to the Alamo in Texas? All right, so the Alamo is a real building in Texas.
My mom has been there.
Your mom has been there? Wonderful. Very good. All right, so we're going to set a purpose for reading this story. It says, have the students read the title and the heading and look at the illustrations through page 295. So we're going to look at all of the illustrations and the headings. So right here, this is one of the headings, Taking Sides Over Texas. So let's just do a nice quick flip through, looking at the headings and the illustrations on up to page 295. So we're just using our eyes to look. We're not reading the story yet. I should see pages flipping. Up to page 295. Then when you got to 295, go back to the title page. And then everybody's back on the title page. Then I will ask my question and we will move on. Go back. I'll go back to the beginning.
We're supposed to read what page?
Nope, you're not reading any page yet. We're just looking at the illustrations and the headings. Nathan, sit up, please. Benjamin, you should be back on the first page. Alex, go back to the title page, please. When I see everybody back on the title page, then I will know that I can move on. All right, it says, based on what you previewed, or just kind of looked over, what is the Alamo and what do you think happened there? So what do you think the Alamo is? Even though I've kind of already told you. Alex? Alex? I called your name, bud. Huh? Okay, put your mask on. All right, what is it, Christopher?
A building.
Okay, it's a building. Okay, what do you think happened there?
They had a war.
Okay, there was a war of some type. Charles?
Maybe those Italian, the people who are holding up the Italian flag, maybe they were trying to take over Texas.
Okay, maybe. It says the Alamo is a Spanish-looking compound with a chapel, a cattle pen, and a plaza. Thank you. It says a battle happened there in which people were fighting for Texas. All right, let's turn to page 290. Next page. Next page, please. Let's go through the story and let's read the story and ask questions. It says, taking sides over Texas. In December 9th, 1835, the streets of San Antonio, Texas, are filled with excitement. After 4 days of battle, the Mexican leader, General Martin Perfecto de Cos, has surrendered. The townspeople of San Antonio cheer. When the Mexican army marches out of the city, soon the news of the surrender spreads to other Texas citizens or Texans. The Mexicans feel ashamed for losing to soldiers they considered to be backwoods frontiermen. In 1821, they won their independence from Spain, and that was against a professional trained army. If the Texans think they have won the fight, they are wrong. The Mexican soldiers know they'll be back to reclaim their honor. All right, so if we look at the map, the Republic of Texas, there's the state of Texas, and then the Republic of Texas. Now this has changed since then because Texas goes into Louisiana. This is no longer the Republic of Texas, but they were fighting for the Republic of Texas. All right, next page. It says, across Mexico, many citizens wonder what the fighting is about. Everybody needs to sit up, please. Everybody needs to be looking at their pages with me. After all, Texas is a part of Mexico. Even though many Texans are from the United States, most have become Mexican citizens. They always got along with the government. Why are they now fighting against Mexico? The problem started soon after Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna became president in 1834. After Mexico became free of Spain in 1821, the new leaders wrote a constitution. This set of laws protected the rights of people and gave them the right to vote. But Santa Anna thought the Constitution was making Mexico weak. He decided to make laws of his own. Under these harsher laws, citizens had fewer rights. Most Mexicans went along with the new laws without complaining. But many Texans felt different about Santa Anna's laws. They came government. The Texans worried that giving up a few rights now could mean a rebellion. They wanted Texas to break free of Mexico and become an independent country. News of the rebellion in Texas made it back to Mexico City. Santa Anna was furious. How dare these rebels try to steal Mexico's land? In late 1835, he sent General Cos to deal with the Texans. The Mexicans and the Texans fought many battles, but after this last battle of December 9th, the Mexicans were forced out of Texas. Now, Mexican citizens all around are making difficult choices. Many Mexican citizens support Santa Anna. They believe Texas should remain with Mexico. Others are choosing to fight with the Texan rebels. Fighting for Texas, page 292. You were born in Louisiana. You came to San Antonio 10 years ago to buy land and become a Mexican citizen. But you no longer want to be a Mexican citizen. You think Santa Anna's strict laws are unfair, and you've joined with many other Texans in a fight for independence. And since General Cos was defeated, rumors have buzzed around town. Some claim Santa Anna is marching north with an army of thousands. Others say he won't come until spring. Just in case you send your wife and children to Louisiana where they'll be safe. Nearly 150 men make up the garrison in San Antonio. Only a few men are trained soldiers. William Travis is one of the leaders. He shares command with Jim Bowie, who is one of your best friends. A few men have joined the garrison from the United States. The other day, famous frontierman Davy Crockett led a group from Tennessee into town. Early, Nathan set up. In the morning on February 23rd, you were standing guard at San Fernando Church. Suddenly, you spot movement on the horizon. Hundreds of soldiers are marching from the south. The rumors were right. You yank the bell's rope. Santa Anna is coming, you yell. Townspeople dash through the streets. Many flee the town. Others rush into the Alamo. Church leaders called missionaries lived in the Alamo about 100 years ago. Some buildings in the Alamo don't have roofs, and the tall walls surrounding the building are crumbling, but it's still the safest place to go. Who is rushing into the Alamo and why? Who is rushing into the Alamo and why? Not. Who's rushing into the Alamo? Nope, Santa Ana is not rushing to the Alamo. Look at your text. Look in your text. Find the answer in your text.
Oh, the town people.
The townspeople. And now why are they running into the Alamo? To be safe from what? Look in your text. What's coming after them?
Santa Ana.
Okay, Santa Ana, because there are hundreds of Mexican soldiers marching from the south. And why are they going into the Alamo? Well, they're not going into the Alamo for war. They're going in to protect themselves because it is the safest place for them to go. That's right, Ava, to be safe. All right, next page, 293. Once inside the Alamo, you see the Alamarin Dickinson struggling with the cannons. Nearby, Travis is sending John Smith to the town of Gonzales to round up volunteers to help fight. You rush to Dickinson's side. Is your family safely inside? You ask. Yes, Susanna took baby Angelina into the sacristus, he says. The tiny sacristus is near the chapel. It's probably the safest place in the Alamo. As you work on the cannons, more residents make their way into the Alamo. Some men lead cows into the back pen. Others cart corn into the storage room. We could be locked up in here for weeks, you mutter to yourself. I'm glad we have plenty of food to eat. Suddenly, you hear a child's cry for help. You peek through a small window. 8-year-old Enrique Esperanza is standing below you. The Alamo's front gates have already been locked and he can't get in. You lift him through the window. Gracias, he shouts. He races to find his father, Gregorio, one of the volunteer fighters. Just then, William Travis approaches the cannon. Santa Ana is here, he cries, pointing to the San Fernando church. The Mexicans have raised a red flag from the bell tower. When Travis sees it, he scowls. Ha! Santa Ana wants us to surrender, but we're not giving up. He pounds his fist on a cannon. Fire it, he orders. We'll never surrender to that tyrant. Page 294. Under the caption under the picture says the Alamo included several rooms which varied in size. It says Dickinson loads the cannon. Stand clear. You shout as you pull the cannon's rope tight. Boom! Smoke rings rise as the iron ball soars through the air. The Mexicans respond with cannon fire of their own.
Can I go to the bathroom?
You already went this morning. You have to wait till after we get done.
No, but I feel like I gotta go.
Go quickly. They continue firing throughout the evening. Luckily, they're still too far to do any harm to the walls. Travis orders the cannon crew to fire only occasionally. The cannonballs can't be wasted this early in the attack. He knows they will be needed when the Mexicans move closer to... Okay, go get a tissue from right over there. I think it stopped already, but right there on Miss Betty's chair. I mean,
got it all.
huh?
I got the rest of it.
Huh?
I got the rest of it.
Oh, I got more. The next afternoon, Crockett stops you in the plaza. Jim Bowie is very ill. They think it's typhoid fever, he says. You hurry to Bowie's room. Along the way, a man stops you. Travis wants us to gather supplies from the shackles in La Vilta, he says, pointing to the nearby village. Will you help us? You agree to go. You push open the Alamo's heavy wooden gates, then you sprint 200 yards to La Vilta. You must move quickly so the Mexicans don't spot you. You search all the shacks and return with baskets of food, clothes, and blankets. It says make an inference about Travis's request for the men to gather supplies from the shacks in La Vilta. It says make an inference from the request for the men to gather supplies from the shacks in La Vilta. Why do you think they're, everybody needs to sit up. Sit up, stand up if you need to. Jordan, stand up if you need to. Why do you think that they need to go get supplies?
Because they're running out.
Okay, because they may be running out. What else? Travis understands that they might be under siege for a long time. They might be fighting for a long time, so they will need all the extra supplies that they can get. What does the diagram on page 294 show?
The church. No. Everything. What's inside the Alamo?
Okay, what's inside the Alamo and what else? It says that it says the location of the cannons in the Alamo, as well as the location of the plaza, the chapel, and the cattle pen, are all shown in the diagram. Where are the cannons?
Maybe they're not those. Oh, right here, the cannon on this one.
Nope, we're not. We're looking at the diagram on 294. Huh. Maybe those. I don't know. It's a great question. Great question. Maybe those green things are where the cannons are, but I thought those were like trees or bushes or something. Anyway. All right, page 295. Says the night the Mexicans continue shooting cannonballs at the walls. It seems like the explosions are getting louder and louder. The next morning, you're patrolling back in the Alamo. You see a line of Mexicans marching into La Villa. You join a crew atop the wall. Aim your rifle and fire. The Mexican soldiers dive behind the shacks for cover. They return fire, but many have already been hit. The Mexicans retreat, dragging their wounded comrades with them. Retreat means to go back. Later, there is talk that Crockett needs help defending the south wall. You also hear that Travis wants men to burn La Villa so the Mexicans can't use the shacks for protection again. You decide to burn La Villa. Make an inference of why the cannonball explosions are getting louder and louder.
Because they're breaking the wall.
Okay, could be breaking the wall.
They're putting more power and speed.
Okay. Yes and no. If they're far away, they're a lot quieter, but the closer and closer they get, the louder they're going to get. So they're getting closer to the Alamo. The explosions are louder because the cannons are getting closer. Page 296. It says you meet other men at the gate. You light a torch and dart towards the small wooden shacks called... Sure. Jacales? Well, that J is actually an H sound, right? Anyway, it says you touch your torch to the walls of one of the jacales. Sure. The shack bursts into flames. You move quickly through the village, lighting each jacale as you go. Soon, La Villa is a fiery scene. Across the river, the Mexicans see the flames. They aim and fire. Luckily, no one is harmed. Your crew is already back inside the Alamo. Why are you being asked to torch the jacales?
So the Mexicans don't use it for protection.
So the Mexicans don't use it for protection and shelter. Authors may provide information based on what they believe the reader knows or do not know yet. It says explain why they might use the strategy when reading page 31, paragraph 31 through 33. What strategy? They may provide information based on what they believe the reader knows or do not know. It says to focus on key ideas in the text to help them realize what they know and do not know and what surprises them. Page 297. On March 1st, John Smith returns with 32 men from Gonzales. Travis is grateful they have come. Jordan, sit up, buddy. Yet worry shows on his face. He's been sending out messages daily. So far, only the town of Gonzales has responded. 2 days later, You walk through the plaza. Smith is leaving to deliver a message to the Texan leaders in the town of Washington on the Brazos. Green Jameson is gathering a crew to repair the crumbled north wall. You follow Jameson to the north wall. It's crumbling from the constant cannon fire. The Mexicans are now only about 250 yards away. You must move quickly to stop the wall from caving in completely. You hammer wood braces and shovel dirt against the stone. After several hours, Jameson tells you to stop. We've done the best we can for now, he says. The next morning, you visit the secretary with Giorgio Esperanza. His children race to his side. Almiron Dickinson and his wife rock their baby to sleep. You spend the day there with your friends. You're grateful that your family is far away from this place. On the afternoon of March 5th, you return to help Jameson secure the north wall. Davy Crockett approaches. Travis has ordered a meeting in the main plaza, he says. Why is Travis worried even after 32 new fighters arrived? Go ahead, Gabby.
They can still defeat them if the Mexican tribe or whatever they are get more people.
Right, because he knows that it's going to take many more people than the ones that are available, even after the additional men arrive, to be successful against the Mexican army. It says, how do the illustrations on page 296 and 297 help you better understand some of the events in the narrative? Let me read it again. Jordan, stand up if you need to, bud. It says, how do the illustrations or the pictures on page 296 and 297 help you better understand some of the events in the narrative? Narrative being the writing in the words. Gabby?
How people are destroying the buildings and now they're trying to protect themselves.
Okay. So on page 296, we see men with rifles. We see the fire of the chacales. We also have a sense of urgency when the men are working to board up the holes. The illustration on 297 shows the extent of the damage that on the Alamo wall. It gives them a rush to rebuild and secure the wall for protection. Page 298. If you are asleep, you need to stand up. If you can't stay awake, you need to stand up. Yes, sir. Quickly. As you enter the plaza, the bright sun warms your face. Everyone is here. The defenders, the women, and the children. Even Bowie is carried into the plaza on his cot. Travis addresses the group. You can tell by the sad look on his face that he doesn't have good news. I've sent many letters to the Texan leaders asking for help, he says. Yesterday, I saw the Mexicans building ladders to climb the wall. I doubt any more volunteers will get here before they attack. You study the faces in the crowd. They're all pale with worry. Everyone knows what a fight without more defenders means. It's impossible for fewer than 200 men to fight off thousands of soldiers. I will fight to my last breath, Travis continues. He removes his silver sword from his sheath at his side. He uses it to cut a line in the sand. It stretches from one end of the plaza to the other. Now you must decide. Cross the line if you want to stay and fight for the liberty of Texas. Davy Crockett, Alamiron Dickinson, and Giorgio Esperanza step across the line. Even Bowie is carried across the line on his cot. Within minutes, all has crossed the line except for you and a Frenchman named Louis Rose. I can't stay and die here, Rose says. This is not my war to fight. You think of your own wife and children. You don't want to die, leaving them all alone. What would they do without you? Yet, your friends will need all the help they can get. You're sad at the thought of leaving your friends, but you must do what's best for your family. I'm sorry, but I must leave too, you say. You glance at the men around you. No one frowns upon you. They respect your decision. Travis thanks you for your service. Crockett and Bowie wish you luck. As you prepare to leave that night, you look back one last time across the Alamo. Davy Crockett and his men are guarding the south wall. William Travis and Alamiron Dickinson work on the cannons. Candlelight glows from Jim Bowie's room as he struggles to stay alive one more night. You hear the women and the secretaries softly talking. You believe this is the last time you'll see your friends alive. With this image burned in your memory, you climb over the tall stone wall and race into the darkness. You make it past the Mexican batteries without being detected. As you run northward to freedom, you know you've made it. You will see your family again. Remember the Alamo. By dawn on March 6th, the Battle of the Alamo was over. So he met with them on March 1st. And March 5th. And then on March 6th, the Battle of the Alamo was over. The Mexicans won, as he promised. Santa Anna did not take any prisoners. Every Texan defender inside the Alamo died in the battle. All of the women and children in the Alamo were allowed to leave. The Mexicans tore down the Texan flag. The Mexican red, white, and green battle flag was put up in its place. Santa Anna wanted to make sure every defender was dead, especially the leaders. He demanded to see the bodies of William Travis, Jim Bowie, and Davy Crockett. The Mexican soldiers searched the defenders' bodies for weapons and valuables. Then they heaped the bodies into a pile and burned them. Texans weren't only ones to die that day. Hundreds of Mexican soldiers were killed or wounded. Santa Anna would have lost far fewer men if he had waited for the 12-pound cannon to arrive. Many Mexican soldiers and officers lost respect for Santa Anna because his decision to charge the Alamo before the larger cannons arrived. Santa Anna ordered Alamo survivor Susanna Dickinson to carry a warning to the Texan leader, Sam Houston. If the other rebels did not surrender, they would share the same fate as their Alamo friends. What's the importance of the shout, "Remember the Alamo"?
It gives
What is the importance of the shout, "Remember the Alamo"? Charles, sit up. What's the importance of people saying, "Remember the Alamo"? It reminds them of the Texans who fought and died for the independence of the Alamo, giving them strength and purpose in their fight against Mexican soldiers. Today, the phrase reminds people of the important episode in Texas history. Why did Santa Anna send Susanna Dickinson with a message to Sam Houston? Look at the text. Why did Santa Anna send Susanna Dickinson with a message to Sam Houston?
Because she was the one, like, she was the survivor.
Okay, but why did he send the message? Because he wanted to do what?
His men to rest.
What?
He wanted his men to rest.
Nope. Why did he send a warning?
Because they won.
To tell them to surrender. He wanted his message to frighten Houston and make him think he and his troops would meet the same fate as did the men at the Alamo, because the men all died. If they don't surrender, if they want to fight, they're willing to die. Susanna walked 70 miles east to Gonzales, carrying her daughter, Angelina. When she arrived, she gave Houston the message. She also told him what she witnessed at the Alamo. Houston ordered everyone to leave Gonzales. Then he burned the town and marched his army east towards San Jacinto. On April 21st, Santa Anna and his men were resting near San Jacinto. Houston attacked and caught Santa Anna by surprise. As Houston's army charged, they shouted the battle cry, "Remember the Alamo!" The battle was over in 18 minutes. This time, the Texans won. How did Houston's troops catch the Mexican soldiers by surprise?
Because they thought they were surrendered.
They thought they were surrendered, and they caught them while they were what? While they were resting. They didn't see the attack was coming. They were not in the position to protect themselves. And page 302. Santa Anna was caught during the battle, and he became Houston's prisoner. The Mexican leader begged for his life. Houston let him live, but not without a price. Santa Anna would have to order his armies back to Mexico. Stay out of Texas forever. Santa Anna agreed. Texas was finally free. The Republic of Texas remained its own country until 1845. That year, the Texan leaders decided to join the United States. Texas became the 28th state. To this day, the people of Texas still remember the brave defenders of the Alamo. In fact, on the back of the state seal is a sketch of the old missions chapel. Above it's written Houston's battle cry from San Jacinto, remember the Alamo. All right, let's look at the collaborative discussion question. It says, reread pages 290 to 291. Why are the Texans fighting against Mexico? Write your answer down. So everybody should have a pencil out. Go back in the text and find your answer. Jordan, we're doing the collaborative discussion questions on page 303. So look for it and find your answer. Nathan, read the second question for me, for everybody. Read a little louder, please, sir.
Who represents the Alamo?
All right, answer that question. Do you want where and why?
He was grabbing his pencil from the ground.
Oh. Not lose, not furious. You shall surrender. Alright, I'm gonna come around and check and see if you do these questions. If you didn't, you're gonna do it at recess. This is time to do it now.
We haven't read the third one.
Yes, we have. Tamani read it.
Oh, I usually use it.
I'd like to do everything for you guys.
No.
No. It's okay. I'll forgive you if I do, but, I'll do it. I'll do it. And you are going to do your, write your vocabulary definition. You can just do the normal version. I'm feeling nice. Let me write the words down. you can define them. All right, we got secure. We have occasionally. We have tyrant. We have furious. If you don't finish these in the next 15 minutes, you are doing them for homework. We have rebellion. And we have surrender. There's only 6 of them, so you need to get a paper. And you're going to define them.